it makes a difference if you look at the CIA budget, there's money in there that needs to stay in the CIA budget, that are things the CIA will do independent of a economic development director. But if the CIA hires the economic development director and he's employed in the city, the budget's pretty much the way it is, and we think we're in pretty good shape. If we decide not to hire an economic developer and contract for those services with the chamber or some other group, then we would change our budget to reflect a contractual service and remove most of those personnel costs. A lot of the other costs, not all of them, but some of the other costs would stay. Like we have audit fees, we have some programs that we already contribute to. So of the 157 we have budgeted, you know, a portion of that, $30,000 or so, would need to stay in CIA to be able to take care of the function CIA have traditionally taken care of. That's kind of, I think, where we're at, is we need to know that, to know how to finish our budget before our June meeting.
Okay, we'll open it for discussion here amongst the commission first.
Well, Mr. Chairman, my feelings have not changed. And maybe for the purposes of discussion, let me just make a motion, and then we can discuss it and decide what to do and give Steve some direction.
There's no action. There's no action.
If you'll give us the direction for the consensus, we'll change the budget, and you'll actually approve it whenever we adopt the budget.
Okay.
Thank you.
My thoughts are that we take the funds from the hotel motel tax, which is, I think we budgeted next year for $140,000, and use that to contract for service with Cushing Economic Development Foundation, who has its own separate 501c6, and does have the bylaws and is set up as a 501c6 with the state, and allow them to hire, direct, and possibly fire, if hopefully that wouldn't be the case, but the economic development director.
Any other discussion regarding the ED from the commission?
So then the economic developer would have no direct ties other than funding to the city. Would that be correct?
If, as presented based on what he said, that's what I hear you
Right.
saying.
Well, except that I think, when you set up, and both, I talked to a person who is currently the treasurer of the foundation, and he and I both agree that foundation needs to be made over of some new people. And we both agreed, and this is still gonna take foundation approval, total foundation approval. He does not feel comfortable, and I don't blame him for trying to make a decision for everybody. This was just his take on it. That from that board, you would have one, possibly two, people from the city, two commissioners, a commissioner, city manager, in some form or another, that would sit on that committee, on that foundation board. And if you so choose, they could provide this group with a month-to-month financial report. We want to give one to the board anyway, so it would be just as easy for you all to have one. As well as if you wanted to, let's say every 6 months, it's up to you, to the number, to have a report, you know, something, a written report from the foundation as to action items that they're doing, they have done, that kind of thing. They could do that. But it would be controlled by the Cushing Economic Development Foundation.
Well, I think if the city's providing funding, we definitely would have to have some kind of a deliverable as far as reporting goes. And I mean, I'd like to see it at least quarterly reporting, just so we stay on track. I know if we have a commissioner sitting on there, that would be great. Obviously, that would be favorable, in my opinion, just because we are putting up the capital to that's my thought. I don't have a problem with providing the funding out of the hotel motel tax. I think it's a good place to fund it from. But I would like to see the oversight and a little bit of reportables.
Other commissioners have thoughts on this one?
Pay for him, I think we know the rest of the control.
And when you say that, Commissioner Thompson, you talking about, Johnson, you talking about them being an employee of the city or being a contract employee with the Economic Development Foundation? You have a thought process in that?
Well, I don't know really, but if it's $10 out of our pocket, we need to have in some way or another.
And you'd be comfortable with either direction, is that what you're telling me, or do you have a preference on one or the other? Or telling us, I should say, or have you got to that point yet?
Well, really, I think you ought to be an employee of whoever's paying, where the money's coming from. I don't think we ought to be funding some other part.
Any other commissioners, Commissioner Amer?
I've gone back and forth on this thing for the last couple, since we last met. I got to thinking, maybe it's not a full-time job, maybe it is a dual job, and then I don't think it can be a dual job, because I think you really gotta have your mind set on what it is you have your mind set on, so I'm really torn on this issue, but I'm gonna agree with Commissioner Johnson. If he's gonna have, whoever it is, he, she, whoever it is, it has to be a collaborative process. My whole thing is, whoever gets hired for this position, whoever is in charge of this person, whoever that is, there needs to be, before that person is hired, a set of benchmarks, a set of guidelines, a set of something that is going to allow that person to know what he or she is supposed to do. It seems to me like, we're kind of going, and I agree that we need something, but, just to go in there willy-nilly like a bull in a china shop without any direction. I said this at the last time we met, we talk about vision, we talk about this, we talk about that, and all of a sudden we're trying to make these changes and we don't know what street we want to go down yet. So I think there needs to be a clear roadmap for whoever the person is. But, and whoever the person is going to have to work hand in hand with everybody involved, with the chamber, with the city manager, with whomever. They're going to have to work hand in hand. It has to be a collaborative process, and it has to be collaborative on all sides of the table. Whoever that may, or, whoever's involved in that. My fear of a board is that the person's going to have to answer to the board, and then possibly have to turn around and answer to the city manager at the same time, because maybe what they want to do, we can't do. And, the city manager would have to, or even the city attorney for that matter, would have to.
Well, there would be a budget set, and like any other organization, you have to live within that budget.
So whoever it is going to have to work with all entities.
Oh, yeah.
So, I really have been torn about this since the last time we, I've really thought about this, and I've made lists of papers, and I've written things down, and the thing that keeps coming back to me is, there needs to be a clear, defined set of objectives and goals for whoever that person is, regardless of who hires them, regardless of who they work for, whatever. Because, last time we met, we were talking about a three-year, probationary or whatever, 3-year limit on the person, and in 3 years, what does that mean? Does it mean that we have more industry in town, or more stores in town, or is it something that's less tangible? Maybe we get some grants to do something different. So I just think there needs to be, I agree that we should put money in the budget. So I'll say that. We need to set aside money in the budget. But before anything is done, there needs to be something tangible that can be seen, and a set of defined objectives and goals, in my opinion, and I'm one guy, objectives, so that whoever gets put in that position, does, my job, I said this the other day to somebody, in my job, they constantly change the rules on me. This year they want me to do this, and then next year they want me to do that, forget what I did last year. They constantly change the rules, and that's so frustrating. And if you look at the state of education today, teachers are flying out of the school building. You can't, we were, how many, 600 teachers short last year in the state of Oklahoma? Tulsa Public was 70 teachers short in April. Okay? There's a reason why there's a shortage. It's because they keep changing the rules. And so I just don't want that to happen in this situation. So, saying all that, Mr. Chairman, here's my thing. As much as I don't think it might be a full-time position, I think we have to make it a full-time position. So I think we need two people. I think we need a person to be an assistant city manager and deal with whatever assistant city manager people do. And we need someone to be a community planner. I'm going to take economic development off the table and call them a community planner. Change the name. Change the paradigm. Community planner. And personally, if we're going to pay for them, I think they need to work